Forward. March. Last. Hold. Present. Present. Colors. Attention. Present. Present. Colors. Lift up weak, please. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Lift your right face. Forward. March.
Please remain standing. I'd like to introduce Josephine Menschik, who will be leading us in our pledge to our flag.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Josie. Once again, I'd like to welcome, please be seated. Once again, I'd like to welcome you as the city of Crest Hill and the Czechoslovak American Congress commemorates once again the tragedy that occurred at Lidice. It's hard to believe that it was 81 years ago yesterday that tragedy happened. And it's good to know that we are never going to forget those people or those who died and their survivors. It's up to us to keep this going. So whether you join us on this day or how you say the word Lidice, just keep saying it and tell it to your neighbors and share that story, because it's just such an important story not to forget, especially with the world the way it is today, with things that are going on. You see the terrible things keep happening, and the more people forget about things like this, the more those things will continue to happen. So please, thank you again for joining us. Thank you to the City of Crest Hill for this last-minute coordination at this beautiful facility. Thank you, Mayor Ray, and Alderwoman Tina. Where did she go? Oh, there she is. And the Public Works staff and everything else for putting this all together. This is a wonderful facility, and this morning, you could see it looks like it's raining again out there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have it at the monument, but I encourage everybody after this ceremony, please go see the monument. Crest Hill is an amazing caretaker of that monument, and it looks beautiful. It's a shame if nobody sees it today, so consider that a requirement on your way home. Please go past the park, stop and reflect a little bit and see that beautiful monument we have to those people who live with us only in memory now. That being said, I'd like to, Vera is going to say a little bit about the next part of our program.
Hello. Those of you who are regulars here know that it's very difficult for us to get any clergymen on a Sunday morning to prepare any remarks here. However, among us, we have an octogenarian who is a lifelong musician and music educator, Otto Delansky, who composed an elegy for Lidice that we thought was very moving and should be shared with you. There are a few words, a few lyrics that were also written by his friend Ana Ramirez, and I'm going to recite those because you don't want me to sing during allergy season. So I will present that musical rendition right now. Sorry. All I have to do is set it up right. Remember Lidice, just torn apart. Remember Lidice, deep in our hearts. Remember Lidice, so long ago. Remember Lidice, we love you so. Thank you.
Thank you, Otto, very much for that beautiful piece of music. He was brought to our attention from Anna, and I have to admit, always know at these ceremonies how emotional I get, but I did get very emotional when I heard that on my phone, and it's just a very powerful piece of music, so thank you very much. We'd like to invite Sokol Straj again to move forward with our formal wreath presentations on behalf of the Czech Consulate of Chicago of the Czech government and the Czechoslovak American Congress. I'd now like to introduce to you Pan Jaroslav Kanturek, our Czech Consul General here representing the Czech Republic. I'd also like to acknowledge his lovely wife, Paní Kanturková, who have been such strong supporters of this memorial, the Czech Congress, and our Czech community here in the Chicagoland area. Pan Kanturek.
Good morning, dobré ráno, dámy a pánové, milí přátelé, krajané, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and especially such a honored guest like Mayor Solomon, like Tina, like John and all the team of the Czechoslovak American Congress, like the dear senators, like the director of Czech and Slovak National Museum, Cecilia Rokusek, like many members of different Czech associations. It's my great pleasure and honor to be here. I think it's for the fourth time, for me the last time, and I always am very touched with this moment when so many people from the community come here, but especially so many Americans and so many people from Crest Hill and from the surrounding. Today it's a very special because we can see your wonderful City Hall and the premises, but I think many of us know the place where we normally come together, and I would like to express again and again my great appreciation and thanks for the City of Crest Hill, for the Illinois Synod, for all these proclamations, for these declarations during the time. It was the 75th anniversary. I remember last year, the 80th anniversary. We brought last year here our Senate delegation from Czech Republic with President of Senate, and we made a lot of publicity through the media, through Czech TV and Czech radio. But as mentioned already, it's 81st anniversary. It's really long time from this tragedy, but everybody will agree with me. Last 2 years we are again touched with such a challenging moments, like the war in Ukraine, like so many events in Europe. So I think the whole momentum is even more important and actual. Today I don't have any long speech because, as you see on the list, we have so many guests and distinguished speakers, and we have today also the historian from Lidice, Gabriela Havlujová. So I think you will hear a lot of interesting information. Perhaps could be even something new for you. I will go in summer back to my country. I am very close connected to Lidice. I even know personally, I can say, the last survivor, Mrs. Jaroslava Skleničková, and I am so happy that through all these 4 years I have seen here the contact with Lidice. It's also thanks to our Czech school here in Chicago. Every year I see here the students from Czech school and the teachers from Czech school. They make a lot of projects and interactive communication even with Jaroslava and with the people from Lidice. And as many of you mentioned, just 1 month ago we commemorated another very important anniversary, the 150th anniversary of the birth of our Mayor Čermák, Anton Čermák, the famous Chicagoan mayor, and it was another great celebration. Mayor Lori Lightfoot proclaimed this day as the Anton Čermák Day in Chicago, and it was another moment when all the Czech community came together and commemorate these things. Last year also, after the commemoration here, I have visited Phillips in Wisconsin, where we have another Lidice memorial, and I would like also on this place to thank Tony Brendel, because she wrote me just letter a few weeks ago that she overhands this chairmanship to the new person, Mrs. Doll, but I really would like to connect also these two places in US. But as always, the Crest Hill was always the first, ever place around the globe where the Lidice Park was announced and where the first protest gathering was already 1 month after the Lidice tragedy in June 1942, and also the next year, the first anniversary, was visited personally by the Edvard Beneš, the exile Czech president. So I think a really very important part of the history, and I would like to conclude my remarks with the discussion with our president of Senate last year when he visited this place, and on the way back he discussed all the time in car, we have to put all this to our textbook for the children to keep this history and to be known also in my country what here in Crest Hill and other places every year happened. So thank you again for coming here, and I hope that the following program will make another impact to this important moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Consul General Kanturek. And again, we will miss you very much as you begin the next phase of your career. And I know we haven't heard the last of you, so we always hope to keep in touch. So
I will be with you next year.
Yeah. See here. The next portion of our program, I'd like to introduce the children of the T.G. Masaryk Czech School. Their teachers have been very hard at work in teaching these children who are growing up here in the United States so they don't forget their own history of their own people. And they work very diligently in making them aware of not just surface instruction, but exactly what this occasion means to them. And what they're going to do for you today is they've done it in the past, and it just means so much to everybody that attends, is they're going to read the letters from the children. There I go. They read the letters from the children, and these children were survived the desecration of Lidice, and they were brought to concentration camps in Poland. At the time they wrote these letters, they were writing to their families, and they didn't realize that they weren't there anymore. I'm very sorry, I'll stop. The children of the T.G. Masaryk Czech School.
Drahá tetičko i strýci, srdečně pozdravuju z Polska. Zasílá Jaruška. Tetičko, nevíš něco o mamince a tatínkovi? O tatínkovi nevím již 3 neděle a mamince 16 dní. Náš majetek je to, co máme na sobě. Proto tě prosím, kdybys byla tak dobrá a kdyby bylo možno, tak mi něco zaslala. A taky třeba ještě nějaké prádlo a jídlo. A prosím tě, ještě i dopisní papír a německý známky. A cívku nitě a nějaký jehle. Tetičko, máme 3krát denně jíst, ale málo. Dopusť, že od tebe chci jídlo a vím, že ti nepřebývá, ale máme tu hlad. Nevíš něco o Lidicích? Tetičko, prosím tě, zašli mi na tebe pořádnou adresu. Srdečně pozdravuju a mnoho pusinek zasílá vaše neteř Jaruška. Odepiš i hned. Dear Auntie and Uncle, warm greetings from Poland, sends to you Jaruška. Auntie, do you know anything about Mommy and Daddy? I haven't heard from Daddy for 3 weeks and about Mommy for 16 days now. Our only belongings is what we are wearing, and therefore I ask you, if you could be so kind and send me something, especially some food and clothing. Please send me some stationery paper and German stamps, and some needle and thread. We receive food 3 times daily, but it's very little. Please forgive me for asking you for food. I know you don't have any extra, but we are very hungry. Do you know anything about Lidice? Auntie, please send me a proper address for you. Warm greetings and many kisses from your niece Yarushka. Please respond immediately.
Milí strýčku a babičko, srdečně vás pozdravuji a vzpomínám na vás. Nepsali vám tatínek nebo maminka? Jestli vám psali, tak mi napište jejich adresu. Pošlete mi nějaké lístky a německé známky a něco k jídlu. Neboť zde dostáváme málo jídla. Odepište mi, co je s Lidicemi. Jsem tu s Fandou. Pošlete mi něco, co dlouho vydrží. Nejradši chleba a medové máslo. Napište mi na tu adresu, co jsem vám poslal. Jsme tu všichni děti. Nevíme, kde jsou rodiče. Pošlete mi všechno, co můžete. Já to upotřebím. Srdečně vás zdraví, Václav a Fanda. Dear Uncle and Grandma, I think about you often with much love. Have Daddy or Mommy written to you yet? If they wrote to you, then please send me their address. Please send me some postcards and German stamps and something to eat, because we get very little food. Please respond with information about Lidice. I am here with Fanda. Send me something that won't go bad fast, preferably bread and honey butter. Write back to the address that I have sent you. All of us children are here. We don't know where our parents are. Send me anything you can. I will find a use for it. Warm greetings from Václav and Fanda.
Milí přátelé, přijměte ode mě srdečný pozdrav a vzpomínku na vás. Béra a Zdeněk, strýček a teta, nevím, kde jsou, asi jsou někde na práci. Všechny děti jsou v Polsku, je zde pořád zima. Karel vzpomíná na Vlastu, co dělá a jak se má. Stýská se nám po Lidicích. Ráno a večer dostáváme chléb s vitelem, v poledne polévku. Doufám, že se zase shledáme. S pozdravem Věra a Karel. Dear friends, please accept our warm greetings and thoughts. I'm unsure about the whereabouts of Beda and Zdeněk. Uncle and Auntie, they were probably sent away for work. All the children are in Poland. It's constantly cold here. Karel often thinks about Vlasta, what she is doing, and how she is. We miss Lidice. In the morning and evening we get bread and water and soup at noon. I hope we'll see each other again. With greetings, Věra and Karel.
Drazí přátelé, přijdem srdečný pozdrav z Polska zásla Mila a Maruš. Prosili bychom vás o nějaké šatstvo, nebo máme jen to, co máme na sobě. A hlavně něco jídlu. A nějakou tu koruny německou. Nevíte něco o rodičech, nebo jsme zvlášť. Zasilte to, co nejdřív, nebo nevíme, jak dlouho tomto místě strváme. S pozdravy Mila a Maruš. Dear friends, first of all, warm greetings from Poland, from Mila and Marush. We would like to ask you for some clothes, for we only have what we are wearing now, and most importantly, something to eat and some German money. Do you know anything about our parents? We were separated. Send it as soon as possible, because we do not know how long we will be here. Greetings from Mila and Marush.
Thank you very much, and thank you to their teachers who are here with us today for really driving home the point of what this day means. All right, next I'd like to introduce a friend of the Czech Congress and the city of Crest Hill, and especially of the Lidice Monument, Dr. Cecilia Rakosková, who's here to talk about, I don't want to steal her thunder, but they are planning, several years ago at the ceremony, Crest Hill graciously gave us, Czech Congress, the portrait of the church in Lidice with the pear tree that we've heard about in the picture. I'd like to let you all know that it has found a permanent home that will be well taken care of, thanks to Cecilia at the museum. They're planning a future exhibit and really get the word about Lidice out there. So, Dr. Rakostova.
Ďakujem veľmi pekne. Council General Kantorek, Mr. Mayor Solomon, esteemed members of our Senate and House, and Adam from the Sokol, and certainly our guest speaker who's coming up. Vítáme vás, dobrý den, a vítáme srdečně od naše Národní České a Slovenské muzeum a knihovna, the only one in North America. So we're very proud, and we work very closely now with Crest Hill because you are part of us. And we want to get more tourists to come down I-80 and come here and then go to Cedar Rapids. And you can do it all in one day, and that will be great. But we are here to commemorate a very important day, and I want to especially recognize you, John, and you, Tina. I know when I came here last year, you were so gracious. I called you, you met us, so thank you. To the people of Crest Hill, thank you for keeping our tradition alive. You know, we Czechs and Slovaks, we have an incredible imprint in the world and a lot of suffering. And Lidice is just one example of what happened to innocent people. And I have just a few prepared remarks that I wanted to share with you today. We must always respect, revere, and remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we would have freedom and democracy. Not for their sakes alone, but for ours in the entire world. And if words cannot repay the debt we owe these men, women, and children, certainly our actions must strive to keep the faith and remembrance of them. Remember, respect, revere, and remember. Because they had no idea what was facing them on the day that they woke up when they were wiped out. War has come again, and it is very close now to our ancestral homelands. We must do all we can to stop this horrible invasion and innocent loss of lives in Ukraine. It borders Slovakia. Ukrainians are our Slavic brothers and sisters. Democracy and individual freedom must be preserved by all. And I'm reminiscent of 2 years ago, I was asked to speak at Moline, Illinois, to 600 high school students. And I thought, what am I going to say to 600? I used to teach medical students. And I thought if we hooked up to someone in Ukraine, my friend in Odessa. And so we had an hour-and-a-half lecture from Odessa live to Moline High School. And one of the little boy, about 15 years old, raised his hand, and he said, this reminds me of two things, the Holocaust and Lidice. And that was so powerful to hear this from this young man, and how can we let it happen again? It's not just strength or courage that we need as a society of all nations, but understanding and a measure of wisdom as well. We must understand enough about our world. And I'm always amazed. Dominic Romano, an Italian, put up the monument. So that means that we as a world must work together. We must value our alliances and support for each other, always in the name of democracy. We must be wise enough about ourselves to listen to our allies, to work with everybody as a world society. We must build the bonds between all of us. We in Central Europe are the golden jewels, the Czech and Slovak republics, but we have to work with all. The men, women, and children we remember today are the ones who sacrificed for the peace that we share today. They said that reality in our world is, today it is sad that reality in our world is still not a reality. We must continually work to achieve that global peace that at times seems impossible. One great step to peace is understanding of each other, respect for all, and never to forget to pray, no matter what your faith is. I'd like to close with a saying by Elie Wiesel, who I really think summarizes what we're commemorating today, the sacrifice of innocent people, but it has a purpose that we remember, and I thank you and congratulate all of you, and am grateful that you came out. Elie Wiesel said, without memory, there is no culture. Without memory, there would be no civilization, no society, and no future. We must always remember. So thank you to Crest Hill, and thank you for always remembering our culture and those who sacrificed to make sure we're in a free and democratic world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cecilia, very, very much for those words. Next, I'd like to introduce to you one of our regular speakers, who I'm sure you all know by now, is the Honorable Tina Oberlin, who is our godmother of Lidice Park, who has, since she was a child, has taken care of that little monument growing up down the street. So please welcome Tina Oberlin.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for showing up in such huge numbers today. It means the world to me that more and more people are coming out to honor the memory of this tragedy, because we cannot ever forget that. And we had to have a last-minute shift in venue, unfortunately, due to Mother Nature. So I want to thank Blaine from our Public Works and all the people from Public Works, Mark Seifert, for this shift over here at the last minute to bring everything here and set it up. I couldn't have done it without them. I want to thank our treasurer, Glenn Conklin, alderperson Claudia Gazal, and Lynn, where are you? The Honorable Lynn, I'm going to butcher this last name, Cola DiPietro. I worked with him for 4 years, I still can't say, for coming and helping me set up all the beverages and things for afterwards. As he said, I did grow up down the street from this monument, which meant so much to me as a child, and I've told this story other times, how I would play up there. I'd play jacks, I'd ride my bike around there, and I would come up every year when I saw the people coming to this. As a little child, I'd just wander up there. You know, my mother probably thought, where's that child at? And I would listen to this ceremony, and I would not know what they were saying because I did not understand the Czech language, but the compassion and everything in their heart as they said the words and they sang the songs, even as a young child, it made me understand what they were trying to say and what it meant, and how we cannot forget this travesty that happened in 1942. And I, too, give a tip of the hat to Dominic Romano, who did something that was so brave and courageous in 1942, as I said earlier today, in the area of McCarthyism and all the things that were going on. He took a stance, and he took a stand in this little town that wasn't even a town yet, and decided he was not going to let Lidice be forgotten. So I hope all of you who showed up today will bring somebody with you next year and the year after that, and we will always continue to honor it. And I will continue with every breath I have to honor this and the people. And thank you all for having me here, and it's my honor to take care of this park. Thank you.
Before I introduce our next speaker, my friend, Honorable Ray Solomon, our mayor, I'd just like to bring your attention to the Lidice flag that's behind me here. This was one of the original flags of before Crest Hill was Crest Hill, and it was made, you can see the Czech flag is in the background with the forever torch and the name Lidice on there. It's proudly displayed by Crest Hill as part of their history, and one of the benefits of having this inside here today is everybody gets a chance to see that. So after the ceremony, come and take a good look at that flag. It really stands for a lot. I would like to now introduce the Honorable Ray Solomon to say a few words. And I know we've thanked Crest Hill repeatedly, but you all don't realize that this monument would not exist. It would not be maintained. It would not be so lovingly taken care of if it was not for Ray and Tina and everybody in the city of Crest Hill and the residents who allow that to be in that little neighborhood. So, Ray Solomon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is an awesome crowd. Your presence here today means more than you will ever realize. I also want to welcome our Consul General and his wife. I'd like to honor and welcome Cecilia and our guest speaker, Gabriella, our two state officials, State Senator Capel and Representative Manley, all of the local officials from the city of Crest Hill, and the city staff from the city of Crest Hill. With all the tragedies going on in the United States and throughout the world, especially with the atrocities happening in Ukraine, we certainly want to offer our prayers to the people of Ukraine. There are many similarities of what is happening today in Ukraine and what occurred at Lidice June 10th, 1942. Both groups have shown an unbelievable amount of strength, courage, and resilience. And at this time, I think it would be appropriate that we offer a moment of silent prayer and hope for a quick resolution to the end of this conflict. Thank you. It is my honor and privilege as the mayor to welcome you to the city of Crest Hill. It is my honor and privilege, your presence here today displays an overwhelmingly amount of support, honor, and remembrance for those who perished at Lidice in the atrocities of June 10th, 1942. We as a city are proud to have this memorial garden in our city. We as a city are proud to be one of the only two memorials to honor and remember the tragedy of Lidice in the United States. We extend our sincerest gratitude for the sacrifices that you make to continue this tradition to honor and memorialize those who have died. We thank you for your commitments and your efforts to pass these traditions on to the next generation. We as a city are proud to be a part of the Czechoslovakian culture and traditions. As we gather today to commemorate the 81st anniversary of this memorial, your passion, your commitment, your dedication, and your loyalty has not wavered. What a tremendous tribute and honor you have made and continue to make to those who have died. For 81 years, this community, and now this city of Crest Hill, has displayed an unwavering passion, commitment, dedication, and loyalty to the memory of the residents of Lidice. As the city of Crest Hill continues to grow and prosper, so does the Lidice Memorial and Garden. I am forever grateful for all of our past, present, and future city employees and volunteers for all of their commitment and hard work in maintaining this garden, restoring the monument and their vigilance to the memory of Lidice. Our traditions of the past are a direct bond to our present and our future. We meet here today to never forget those who gave their lives at the hand of Nazi oppression. The atrocities committed at Lidice are a perfect example of good always triumphing over evil, and right always prevailing over wrong. We will continue to remember and proclaim that Lidice lives, words inscribed on our original monument. I not only welcome you to the city of Crest Hill today, but every day. It's been a long time since we got rained out and we had to move back indoors. But we are very proud of this building that has been created, and we will continue to have memorial ceremonies on this day as long as possible. And if we ever have to have another rainout, which I hope we don't, we will be here, because we will be here for 50 to 75 years. But I do encourage, as John had mentioned, stop by the memorial on your way home. Come back on a beautiful sunny day when the sun is shining on the monument, and just reflect and take some time in peace for those that gave their lives for what we enjoy today. May God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for being here.
So today I get to introduce somebody who's special here in the audience. And I just want to congratulate her because she's just been appointed the Deputy Majority Leader of the Democratic Caucus. What an honor and what a pleasure that she's here with us, and she's almost always here with us, and that is our representative, the Honorable Natalie Manley. My pleasure.
feel like this is a family reunion. I try to be here as often as possible. Tina comes, I do a radio show, not as a state rep, but just as a normal person. She comes in and she promotes every year this celebration, talks about the history of Lidice, and so I want to thank her for always including me. So when I prepare for speaking, I'm sure you all do this in the morning, you think, what's ahead of me today? And I remember as a kid, my mom would say that's when kids ran the neighborhood. She would say, watch out for your little sister, take care of each other, look out for each other. Those are the things she would always tell us, and then we'd be out till the street lights came on. Remember that? And so in the world today, I don't think it's difficult for us to imagine a maniacal leader that will target a certain group of people, lie, try to convince people of untruths, whether it be in Russia or here in the United States. And I think it's up to us to watch out and take care of each other. John, I love the emotion. I love the emotion that you show us. I love the beautiful ceremony that our color guard, it just draws us in to know that we are together in all of this. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to not, other than my husband who agrees with me on just about everything. He's not here, by the way. It's okay to disagree, but it's not okay not to look out for each other. And so it's okay to be scared. We talked about that earlier, but it's not okay to do nothing. So look to your neighbors and look to the people that live in Crest Hill, this beautiful city of Crest Hill that does this amazing thing every year, and take care of each other. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here. I think I'm saying Lidice. I keep trying every year. It has some version every time I come here, but I want to thank you all for being here. It means the world to our mayor and our city alderwoman, Tina Oberlin, who really has a passion for this. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be part of the Crest Hill family. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Natalie, very much. And people are always asking me, what's the right way to say Lidice? People have been correcting my Czech my entire life, including Clara and Vera, who are here today. All we can do is the best that we can. And when it comes to the word Lidice, it doesn't matter how you say it, just keep saying it so people don't forget. That's the important thing. I'd like to introduce to you our featured speaker for the evening. We are honored to have Gabriela Havlujová with us here today. And see, I said that correctly, Vera and Clara. With us today, she is a historian from the Czech Republic. We were happy to be a small part of bringing her here today. She was part of the recent Czech School Teacher Conference at the museum in Cedar Rapids that they hosted. She presents a different perspective. She is from the town of Kladno, which is directly next door, practically, to Lidice. And so it's nice that we repeat our version of the story, but it will be even better to hear it from a different perspective from someone who really knows. Please welcome Gabriela Havlujová.
Dear Council General Kanturek, dear Mayor, dear guest, it's an honor to be here, and I would like to thank you, Czechoslovak American Congress, Czechoslovak Heritage Museum, and Masaryk Czech School for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak at the commemoration here at Crest Hill, and now I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I have been involved in the history of Lidice since I was 14 years old. As a student, I met a Lidice survivor who was 18 years old at the time of the tragedy. She told me her story, and I admired his he will to live. I also realized that luck was very often the reason why they survived. 503 inhabitants lived in Lidice and 340 inhabitants were murdered. I listened to the stories from concentration camps and I also became more and more interested in the context of Lidice tragedy. I started working at Lidice Memorial as the youngest guide. I was 15. I guided hundreds of students there, and later I studied modern history at Charles University. The turning point came after the birth of my daughter. I couldn't guide anymore. I couldn't talk about the separation of mothers and children. My voice always froze, and I realized I had to quit my job. I couldn't even imagine that anyone could be so cruel to hurt innocent people. Lidice is still in my heart, of course, but it is better for my soul not to work there anymore. I was a part of Lidice every day, which made me think about the tragedy constantly. It was difficult. However, most of the survived women and children stayed there after the end of the Second World War, lived there, and every day went through their set destiny again and again. Lidice will always live in the hearts of Czech people. That was the slogan after 1945. And we are aware of this. Lidice live in all hearts, not only Czech people. It was 81 years ago, but we don't forget. Visitors to the Lidice Memorial have often asked me why Lidice in particular became a symbol. There were thousands of villages destroyed in Ukraine and Belarus during Second World War. We have to say that it was the Nazi propaganda that had the greatest influence. Hitler thought he could intimidate the world with this act. The opposite became true. When the information about the destruction of Czech village went around the world, a huge wave of solidarity arose. We must not forget Lidice. Lidice will live. Lidice never again. The whole world decided that Lidice would rise from the ashes. Fundraising campaigns were immediately set up to the rebuilt new village in the United Kingdom and the United States. Crest Hill and Mexico named places after Lidice, created memorials for Lidice. Parents from Central and South America named their newborn daughters after Lidice. In the Czech Republic, however, Lidice is remembered not only as a symbol of the horrors of war, but also as an instrument of communist power of the transformation of society after 1989. Lidice still resonates today, and that is good. At the time of the war in Ukraine, Lidice is still a living symbol. I will conclude my speech by a message from Mrs. Jaroslava Skleničková, who is now 97 years old. She is the last surviving Lidice woman, and her book, As a Boy I Would Have Been Shot, is a Czech bestseller. Mrs. Skleničková asked me to read a message to children who have prepared a program for us today. So, Nazdar, like a sokol. Nazdar, children. I'm sending you greetings from Lidice. I'm the last woman who still remembers what a beautiful and great village Lidice was. I wish no war will come to you and that you will have a lifetime of peace and joy. That's what great-grandmother, who is 97 years old, wishes to you. So goodbye, children, Jaroslava Skleničková. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. I'd also like to introduce to you our next speaker, and just another example of how widely the word spreads throughout not only local government but state government as well. Please welcome the Honorable Meg Gopal, State Senator.
First of all, I'd like to thank the city of Crest Hill, Mayor Solomon, the city council, and all our representatives here today for inviting me. Tina invited me personally, so I knew this was a very big deal. This is my first time attending, and I'm extremely impressed. I want you to know that my grandparents actually lived in Crest Hill, and I spent a lot of time here. And I do have a soft spot in my heart for Crest Hill, and I do have a soft spot in my heart for all the diversity that it represents and the things that I came away with. So when I think about and I hear the letters from the students that were, the children of this tragedy, you can't help but cry. You can't help. I was actually surprised how I teared up. Because as much as we do want to remember the good things that our culture gives us, the good things from our heritage, and I remember a lot of great times being in Crest Hill and being with my family, we have to remember that sometimes those tragedies also define us and also carry down and carry through the generations. So we can't forget. We definitely can't forget Lidice. And I'm so excited that we're here, that we're remembering this. It's kind of where you walk in the tension of the joy of your heritage, but also the sorrow of the things that have happened, and we can't forget with that. So with that, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to be here. Thank you again for inviting me, and what do they say? Lidice lives, right? Lidice lives.
Thank you, Meg, very much. And now a traditional part of our program is some of the songs that we remember as kids that we grew up with, maybe new to some of you. They are sung in Czech, but the beautiful melodies transcend any kind of language or translation that we can give to you. I'd like to do a special thank you to Blanca Hertz from the United Moravian Societies, who pulls together people from different organizations and puts together this program for us today. If you know the words, please join in singing along.
name is Adam Wilt, and I am the Vice President of the Czechoslovak American Congress and the President of the American Sokol. And for me, I get the honor and privilege to wrap up today's program. We've heard a lot about the annihilation of Lidice, and I want to start by thanking again the city of Crest Hill for continuing to help ensure that Lidice lives. This is a day where we take time to remember. We take time to hopefully visit the monument later. But more importantly, I think we take time to look at really the common bond of all of this, which is courage. Lidice started because the Czech people had the courage to stand up to the Nazi tyranny that was happening in Czechoslovakia. The sequence of events created such heartbreak, but the people for Lidice, the children writing letters to their families, they had the courage and they needed the courage to move forward, to move on, and to live their lives. Across the globe, others had the courage to rename their towns, name their children for Lidice. And that took courage. It also takes courage to continue to live and move forward and act in a way that is powerful enough to stand up to tyranny, to stand up for what's right. And that takes courage. This group here continues to grow, and actually it's amazing to see how, for those of you, last time we were indoors, we were in a much smaller facility, and you come here and you see that there's even more people here having the courage not just to remember Lidice, but to take the lessons from it and to make sure that we live with those in our lives. This is not just about the people of Lidice standing up to tyranny. This is about the world standing up to tyranny. People across borders, across language barriers, have all united with this in mind and the courage to continue to remember one thing: Lidice lives. Thank you for being part of that, and thank you to all of those who continue to have the courage to make sure that Lidice lives.
Present. Colors. Attention. Present. Present. Colors. Colors. Back step. March. Left. Face. Forward. March.
That concludes our ceremony for today. As with any Czech event, there's plenty of refreshments and there's been a lot of baking going on, so please help yourself in the back of the hall. If you would like, please feel free to take a flower from one of the floral pieces, take it home, put it in a vase, and remember Lidice always. Thank you all for coming.